Good morning, y'all. I'm out here with Ozzy. Ozzy's my alpha Cane Corso male dog. If you're new to the channel, little Gypsy's a pit bull, and there's Vito, just barely turned 6 months old. My other male Cane Corso. Whew. There was another dog on the opposite side of my fence out there, and the dogs were going ballistic. But I wanted to tell you what I saw. What was interesting is that Lucia and Gypsy and Vito, they were really barking at the fence pretty hard at that dog, and Ozzy was too. But what I noticed was that Vito seemed to be kind of taking the lead on it, and Ozzy, maybe because Ozzy's wiser, he figured that dog's not much of a threat. I think it's one of my neighbor's dog. It's a really nice dog, really not an aggressive dog or anything, but you know, they're protecting their territory, and they're letting that dog know this is their territory. But oh, he sees a squirrel. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting that Ozzy kind of let Vito take a little bit of the lead on that. Like I said, I'm not sure if that was the case, or if it's just that Ozzy wasn't as concerned at that other dog as, you know. Oh, well, you tell him, Oz. He said that squirrel's getting a little bit too close. That squirrel's coming down kind of lower on the branches. And there they are. So Lucia is my other gray brindle. She's female, 2 years old. Gypsy's gonna go deal with her rock. Vito gonna go get Gypsy's bad habits. Hi, Lucia. Hi, Lucia. Sweet girl, honey. Boy, isn't she like the spitting image of Ozzy? Jeez Louise. Look at these two. But yeah, so I thought to myself, well, maybe this is a good thing, because Ozzy maybe feels a little more comfortable that he's got another big male to back him up in the pack. Maybe, I wonder if it makes him feel good. Or contrary to that thought would be, he finds it as more competition, and it puts strain on his everyday kind of emotional state, you know, because he's got this other big male that he's got to make sure he doesn't let take his place, kind of defend his place as the alpha dog against this other big male, up and coming male. I don't see that so much. Like I said, like I always say, is all bets are off when the hormones kick in. But Ozzy is gonna be 6 in November, and so, you know, he's getting older. Maybe he's not as fired up to defend his place as alpha, or maybe there's already going to be an agreement between Vito. Look, see Vito getting Gypsy's bad habit. Let me go get that rock from him. Maybe it's going to be just that there's an understanding between Vito and Ozzy that Ozzy can remain the alpha. Because what I've seen so far is that Vito's very respectful to Ozzy. Very respectful. Doesn't try to take his place. Hi, baby boy. Yeah, I see that scar on Vito's forehead there. Right there. That's from Dolce. He was trying to challenge Dolce. Now, Dolce, if you haven't met her yet, and you're new to the pack, Dolce is also a beautiful black coat, Cane Corso, female version. And she's 4, and she's extremely dominant. So she was letting Vito know that she's going to remain more dominant for now. That probably will change once Vito's hormones kick in, and he's going to become much stronger than her very quickly. So I have to be mindful of that power struggle there to make sure that it's not going to be a dangerous power struggle. Vito, what you got, Vito? So yeah, the only kind of contention I've seen between the two males is like if Ozzy's already in his little doggy bed, he's got his space, and Vito comes near him. And now sometimes he'll let Vito just lay down next to him, but if Vito kind of steps over him or something like that, Ozzy will give a light growl, and Vito will react to that and give him his space. So it's really good. It's all been a really constructive kind of relationship. Lucia, get it, girl. Lucia. Lucia's developed nicely, y'all. So she's 2, and she turned 2 in just a month ago. So she's just barely 2. She's not done growing, but she's getting there. Cane Corso don't really stop growing until around 3, in general. Their growth plates in their bones start to fuse at around 3, or at least stop growing. So, but yeah, so as far as temperament, emotional, and everything, she's very protective. I notice her kind of growing into her role as also being just very protective, she's starting to mature a little bit in a good way. She still has that kind of playful puppiness about her. I think once she has a litter of pups, that's going to change. She's going to just become more and more mature in a good way. Like she just, whenever she's excited, she throws her body around, her tail wags uncontrollably. You've seen the way she is around Ozzy. I'm wondering if that's going to change whenever she has a litter of pups. So if you're new to the channel, I'm going to be breeding Vito and Lucia next year, early part of next year, whenever he's ready to be breeding. He's too young right now. He's only 6 months. So my brother Albert, who's been staying with me, he's not here today. He went back. He's in a master's course for a counseling degree, and it's mostly online, but some of it he has to do at the campus, and so that's where he went to go do that. I think he'll be gone about a week. And so he took Dolce and Tux with him, and Bruce, his dog Bruce. So I noticed what a difference it is, like with 4 dogs and versus, I've had 7 in my house if you count Bruce. Although Bruce is my brother Albert's a very elderly dog. He just basically he sleeps all day, so he's not out there. You don't really feel his presence, as far as the energy in the room when you have a bunch of dogs, because he's usually in a room just sleeping. But so 6 dogs that are up and about and rambunctious, you definitely feel a difference between 4 and 6, or at least I do right now. So 4 feels like just a good number for me. I like 4. 6, it's like a big happy family with 6, but it is also a little bit more work. But as many of y'all know, Albert has Dolce and Tux. They're kind of in between the pack right now, you know, because Albert's in, you know, here and there. He goes back home. He lives in Houston, near Houston, in the country, kind of the outskirts of Houston, near the country area. But so he has taken Dolce and Tux. So because he stays at my house so often, it's just like they're still here. But you know, once Albert, you know, who knows, like when he gets married or whenever he moves away and gets his career and all that, in the future, then you know, he'll keep Dolce and Tux. But you know, we visit so often, it's not like we'll never see them again. But you know, for the long term, in the let me go see what's going on over there. Then I will most likely just keep 4, you know, kind of permanently with me in the house. And you know, by then, who knows, maybe that's near the end of their lifespan anyway, because Ozzy and Dolce, they're getting up there in age. They're probably midlife right now. But you know, by the time Albert's career is off the ground, and you know, maybe, who knows what happens. By then, I might be back down to 4. But like I said, you guys will always see, no matter what happens, you'll see Dolce and Tux pretty regularly. Because even if Albert does get his new career, and even if he moves or something like that, you know, we always see each other frequently. My family and I, the family's pretty close, so it's not like you'll never see those 2 dogs again. So, but yeah, I didn't film it this time when Albert was leaving with Dolce and Tux. He's, like I said, he's only going to be gone a few days, but Dolce and Tux, when he opened his Jeep to leave, you know, to get them in the car, they readily jumped up in that Jeep. They were excited. It's like they're going on an adventure with him, and they love it out there in the country. So, and those are the only 2 dogs of this pack that did that. So they kind of already understand what's going on. And the rest of my dogs, Gypsy, Ozzy, Lucia, Vito, they didn't jump up in the Jeep because they know they're staying here. It's funny how the dogs, they're masters at patterns and recognizing routines and things. And so Dolce and Tux knew what was going on. They're like, oh, okay, we're going back to the country with Albert for a little while. Hey, baby. So, but they recognize Albert as their main caretaker. And that's probably because when he did go out there, you know, he's been out to his house over there where my dad lives, east of Houston. They've been on a couple trips out there where they stayed with him back at his house over there, you know, for a month at a time, and then come back here to visit for a month at a time, things like that. So they've already got that routine down. So they've, in that process, relied upon Albert to feed them, you know, to take care of them, to walk them. And so they identify him as their main caretaker, or as their alpha, as their pack leader. Although it's kind of shared when they come here, they recognize Albert and me as the pack leaders. And that's an important point, because with this dog breed, Cane Corso, with a dominant guardian breed like a Cane Corso, it can be problematic if it's in a family situation where there's two adults that should be the pack leaders, but the dogs only recognize one of those as the pack leader because only one feeds them. or the other one isn't very assertive with them. So they view the other one, say, the other family member as as just a lower ranking pack member with them. It can be very dangerous. There's many scenarios and examples of that, where say for example, if it's like a husband-wife type living situation when they got the kids, and say the Cane Corso recognizes the husband as the alpha, as the pack leader, and then the wife and the kids, the dog recognizes them as lower ranking pack members, kind of on equal footing, or even below their ranking, below the dog's ranking in the pack. So it's an extremely dangerous situation. But you can see how that easily can happen if only one, and now I say husband as alpha in this scenario, just because, I mean, it could be the wife. It could be the wife is the one that does all the feeding, and the husband is gone all the time, and the dog recognizes the wife as the alpha, as the pack leader. So whatever the situation is, the example is that the dog does not recognize all humans in the household as pack leader, where that's the way it should be. They should recognize all the humans, even the kids, as pack leader. So you can have multiple pack leaders. A dog can recognize that. But it's important to quote unquote train all the members of the household, all the human members of the household, to communicate to the dog that they are all higher ranking. And they don't all have to be necessarily pack leader, but they have to be higher ranking than the dog, in the dog's eyes. You could have an alpha, one spouse, the alpha, and the other spouse, the beta. So, for example, in the dog's eyes, they recognize me as pack leader and Ozzy as the beta. Whereas Ozzy's the alpha dog, I'm the alpha human. But if you're going by strict rank structure, then I would be the alpha, and then Ozzy would be the beta, and then all the other dogs in this pack recognize he and I as the ones in charge. And that's how it currently is. That's why there's a stable pack structure in my pack, and why we don't have aggression in my pack. So very important that if you have a Cane Corso, if you're gonna get a Cane Corso, extremely important that you make sure every human in your household communicates to the dog that they're higher ranking, and that could also be people that come into your home that don't live there regularly, family members, for example. The dogs need to understand that by proxy, every human that is accepted by the pack leaders, that those are higher ranking than the dogs. And it very quickly can go the opposite direction. In fact, the default for this breed is the opposite. Unless you communicate to this dog breed, that you and everybody that you deem accepted into your house, every human is going to be a higher ranking. And so that's so important, because the dog's natural tendency is to dominate. And so if you don't communicate that to the dog, then someone that, like a family member or a kid, a Cane Corso is going to assume a higher ranking unless told otherwise, unless communicated otherwise by the pack leader. So there are several ways to do that, to communicate that. But the easiest ways is when the dog's a puppy. It's less dangerous that way too. And you do subtle things like you push them off the furniture. You don't let them on the furniture, or you only let them on when you invite them. You can randomly kick them off the furniture. Even after you've invited them, you can let them be on the furniture, like on the couch with you for 10 minutes, and then you can say, okay, get off. And not an aggressive way, but, just tell them to get down, push them off. Or you can randomly take something that they have, that they're like, a bone or something. You can randomly take that away. And if they growl at you, you put them in a submissive posture, roll them on their belly and hold them there until they submit. All of these things that I'm saying, you should not attempt unless you're 100% certain that it's safe. Like it should be a puppy, ideally, and it shouldn't be a situation where the dog already has established itself as more dominant than you, and especially if the dog's kind of more grown and bigger, because obviously that's a dangerous situation. The dog could then challenge you, and it could be very dangerous. See what I mean about, this is an example how Vito's kind of taking the lead. Ozzy's, he's alert. He's like, okay, his tail's up. He's concerned, but he's kind of in the back. And Vito's up in the front there. See, Vito's bark is extremely loud. I mean, it's deep. Sounds like a full-grown male. Now, what I've got on my hands, my challenge, is that I need to now really work with Vito. And what that means is I don't want to have happen with Vito what happened with Ozzy when Ozzy was a puppy. When Ozzy was, he may have even been a year. He was at least 6 months, but between 6 months and a year of age, I lived in a different house. It was more of a neighborhood type setting. And I was walking Ozzy, and we were walking past a house with a barking dog. A German Shepherd dog was barking at us as we were walking past the house. The German Shepherd dog was in the house, barking at us through his window. And Ozzy broke from the leash. He was leash trained, mind you. He was very well leash trained, walking beside me nicely on a leash. But when he saw that German Shepherd dog barking at us, he bolted, broke through from the leash, and ran up to that window and broke that window, y'all. I've told this story several times, so if you're not new to the channel, you've probably heard it. But I always like to tell it because you may think that your dog is leash trained and obedience trained, and he was, but you really have to work harder than most other breeds if you have a very dominant breed like this to communicate that the dog can't make its own decisions as far as like what he thinks is a threat. You need to communicate that you're the decision maker. And I had not communicated that to Ozzy. It was just his instinct to go take care of that quote unquote threat. And part of that was also, those were two male dogs, two very large dogs. And it could be that, I think most likely also it was that Ozzy's hormones were pretty high, because he was in that puberty age. So you had the hormones and you had the protection and all that factoring in with how he reacted. And so I knew at that point that I had to work a lot harder with Ozzy. So what I would do is kind of take him by a situation where there was a dog barking at us behind a very stable fence. He couldn't see the dog, but he could hear it barking at us, and I would walk past that fence with him. I would make him sit, and then I would stand between Ozzy and the fence to communicate to him that I've got this under control. You don't take the control. And also to communicate to him that you don't need to protect me. I'm protecting you. So I would stand between Ozzy and the fence with the barking dog behind it. Make Ozzy sit. I wasn't going to be like yelling at Ozzy, because I think that was just kind of And I did try that. It didn't work. Me, like, yelling at Ozzy, yanking on the leash, telling him, calm down. That was kind of just exacerbating the situation. So I would just remain calm, but firm. Stand in front of Ozzy, make him sit. And then just turn the leash around. Turn him around on the leash and walk away from the fence. And I would do, iterations of that every day. And then another way to do it, the dog's barking at us, we're walking past the fence, but I keep the momentum. I keep just walking. So he doesn't even have time to, lunge at that fence. And sometimes I would run. So we got that momentum. I'd run past that fence with him, just a light jog, and keep his head forward. And so he kind of eventually got desensitized to that barking dog. So that was an exercise that we did. So I'm saying all this because I need to do this with Vito. Because Vito is just as protective, if not more so, than Ozzy was at this age. And so, because I live out here in the country and I don't regularly walk these dogs in a neighborhood setting, I need to actually do that. So what I'm going to probably do here is on the next couple videos, I'm going to try. It's hard because I'm very, it's a very busy work life that I have. So I will have to make time to take Vito out in a neighborhood. I'll have to drive to the neighborhood and walk him on a leash past some barking dogs. So he needs that training. He needs that experience. That's part of socialization. He's already very good in public. I've taken him on socialization trips to stores like Home Depot, and I've posted those videos, and he's just naturally very good. He's not aggressive. He's protective, but he understands when I'm friendly with a person in public. He recognizes that. He's still aloof, like not overly friendly, true to the Cane Corso nature. But he doesn't growl. He doesn't stick his tail straight up when someone approaches me, because he recognizes my body language. I'm okay with it. So yeah, lots of videos I need to do and post as examples of that. I need to do a lot of work with Vito with that, and so more to come on that. I feel the pressure now because Vito is growing so quickly. Many of y'all have commented on that, like, wow, I notice how big he is even compared to your last video. So yeah, he's growing by the day, and he's becoming very big and powerful very quickly. So I have a very small window of time with which to work with him. So need to get on that. It's work when you have a Cane Corso. It's the critical stage, and so it's unlike other breeds where you don't have to put that much work in. Like a Labrador, you teach it to sit, stay, lay down, basic obedience, and then you're pretty much done. With the Cane Corso, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like I say, you got to work a lot harder because it's a dangerous breed to have if you don't. And that requires taking them out in situations where they have the potential to overreact. If I didn't ever take him out in public, I would think, oh, he's good. But then the minute I have to take him in public, say to the vet, or I go on a vacation and someone has him, he could be in a dangerous situation, just like that situation I was with Ozzy when he broke the window of that barking dog. And if you don't take them in those situations, you can't train them, and you can't see how they're going to react yet. See, Ozzy's tail's sticking up a little bit. He's alert. Ozzy is wiser than Vito right now, and that could be why he doesn't react so intensely the way Vito does. at certain things. Ozzy's wiser in that he knows the rhythm of this property. He knows the rhythm of this environment. Like the garbage truck. He knows the sound of the garbage truck, that it's only going to be less than 5 minutes, and it doesn't come on my property. Vito doesn't know that yet. So he's going to bark more at the garbage truck than Ozzy. But he'll learn all that. Well, anyways, y'all, I've been rambling for quite a while now, I think. And let me see. Oh, gosh, yeah, this is going to be a longer video. If you've stayed with the video this long, kudos to you. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you on the next one. Vito. Hey, Papa. Hey, baby boy.
I just wanna